So these were images that were kicking around on the Chinese message boards for a couple of days, and it was only a matter of time before one of these factory leaks ended up in the hands of the irredeemable, I guess is the best way to put it. So I guess we're going to talk about it now because now it's public and the genie is out of the bottle. So let's talk about this variant of Breakdown from Legacy that we saw, I would say about a week ago if you were on the right message boards, and well, today for the Western message boards in a lot of ways. And so what's going on here? And I have a few theories of what's going on here, but for people that aren't familiar with what this is we had the Legacy Evolution Breakdown. He was the last member of the 2023 Menasor Combiner team. He was the one that had the different packaging and everything like that under Legacy Evolution, where everyone else was under the Legacy Vanilla. And that mold came out, people were happy, and that is that. And then this one surfaced, and this one, on top of having a whole bunch of new paint decos on it, also has a brand new head sculpt on it that is way more in tune with that of the toy model. And a lot of people are confused by this. Why are they doing a variant? I mean, wouldn't it make sense to do like one of the earlier kind of legacy combiner limbs that might not be in circulation as easily? But I think there's more going on here, and it's a lot more in tune with like what happened when we saw that head variant on Megatron a while back, and I even confirmed it with Mark when I talked with him on the Q&A with Hasbro. And it's something that I think what we're seeing here is a factory mistake that now has first went out on the message boards in China and then ended up obviously in the hands of other individuals. And now we're kind of looking at what potentially is going to be the mold that's going to be used for potentially, I guess, the G2 Breakdown. And the reason why I think it's going to be the G2 Breakdown is because we already got through the Legacy Velocitron Speedia 500 capsule through Walmart. We got Shadow Strip. That's our G2 drag strip pretty much. We know through listings that we saw in mid-March last month that we're going to be getting a G2 Dead End at some point. Of course, the Toxitron collection is just lending more to all these unreleased G2 ideas, and it's just a matter of time before some of those other members get done. And wouldn't it be more fun and more accurate looking at, let's say, G2 Breakdown's legacy, no pun intended, of design, that it would have something that's more toy accurate because of that's kind of where it was born from. We have a G2 Breakdown that's based off of the animation model. We have a G1 Breakdown that's based off of the animation model in Legacy, and that's what Legacy's goal is to be an animation model accurate kind of thing. And then we have this one here that, given the right paint, will probably be like that. Now, if people aren't familiar with G2 Breakdown, I'll just quickly go through it. Back in 1994, we were supposed to get the G2 Stunticons. It didn't happen. G2 did not sell very well. The G2 project was a mess. A lot of combiner ideas and other sculpts and repaints and ideas just never saw the light of day. And one of those was, again, the G2 Menasor team, but more specifically G2 Breakdown. There was a handful of samples that existed. A handful of those were given out at different kinds of fairs and conventions, and then a large sample of them were given to BotCon 1994, the very first BotCon. And I believe the numbers of those, there's about 150 of them out there. And they were carded. Of course, they were cracked out of the pack by early 90s Transformer fans that wanted to own a cool piece of G2 history. And that was that. You fast forward exactly 10 years later, and to celebrate that character in 2004 at the unofficial BotCon 2004 convention. This is when Fun Publication was going to be having the rights to it. We had the unofficial G2 Action Master Breakdown, which was a kind of one of the very first third-party items made in the West in a lot of ways. Used Action Master Sideswipe as a foundation for that and everything. But then, of course, when BotCon was owned by Fun Publications, they wanted to continue that kind of tradition of that character because it was the first BotCon exclusive. We had the 2010 BotCon box set. It had a G2 Breakdown in that one. And then, of course, they did the same thing again in 2014 where they did the Creo bag set, again celebrating popular BotCon exclusives throughout the years, and they did a G2 Creon breakdown in 2014, and then in 2016, the Combiner Wars line was out there. They did a G2 Menasor box set. G2 Breakdown was part of that, and that was that. And now it looks like, it looks like that's what's going to happen here, is we're going to probably get something that is true to that G2 Breakdown. So what is different about it? Obviously the head sculpt is different, but there's a lot of different tempo hits that are different on this too. We got a brand new head sculpt. We got some brand new tempo hits on the shoulders or the forearms or the biceps, I guess we could call it. There's a different kind of paint hit on the chest. There's different kind of tempos on the knees that weren't present before. And then there's paint hits on the toes. So there's a lot of stuff different going on with the robot mode. With the alt mode, the only thing that's really different is they move the Decepticon emblem a little bit off to the side and give it a different kind of tempo look that's more, I guess, solid. And then over the fenders, there's some blue paint hits that are over it too. I guess we'll see what that kind of leads to afterwards. But very interesting. And of course, if we go into the accessories, the gun that was originally a white piece of plastic that had a black paint hit on it now has a blue paint hit on it. So I think that this is probably going to be something that's going to be our G2 breakdown at some point. We're just looking at the mold early, and it was just put on the wrong tooling, if you will, the wrong coloring, excuse me. And maybe we'll see something later on. Again, I get a feeling it's going to be like that Megatron situation with the grinning face. So we'll see what happens with that. But very interesting, very, very interesting to see that. I think it was just a matter of time before we were going to get a G2 breakdown, as well as just G2 Menasor as a whole. In a lot of ways, it's just something that if we're going to have unreleased G2 combiners, that's probably the most popular one, even though I love Defensor, and it's like it's a given at this point. And again, they have those molds. They're going to milk them. They spent all that time and energy doing that combiner team for the Legacy brand. They're not just going to sit on it and let it not make them money. They're going to obviously repaint the hell out of them. Who knows? Maybe we'll get this also in the standard colors like we're looking at right now. It'll be a way to kind of re-release it again. Maybe it'll be a package refresh with a brand new head sculpt, and they make another sale. Look, you got regular breakdown. Now you got toy accurate breakdown, and it'll be a buzzworthy Bumblebee exclusive at Target. I wouldn't be surprised, but I could really see this more than anything because of the head sculpt being used as a G2 breakdown foundation and centerpiece. So I dig it. I think it's really cool. Let me know what you think. Look, it's not a big surprise. I'm just surprised that they put a new head sculpt on it. I think that's the big thing for me. I like it otherwise. Let me know what you think, guys, and thanks again for listening on the Transformer Slag podcast, and I hope you learned something today.